Chapter 25. It was morning in Tombri's bedroom. But who cares? She felt drained, not rested after crying all night. She rolled over and stared at the wall. She had hung up the album cover of Robbie's CD You're Dead. One side of her lip curled down in disgust as her nose scrunched up. Jerk. She grabbed it and ripped it from the wall and flung it like a frisbee across the bedroom to her trash can, and the bank shot off her computer desk made the shot perfectly into the can with a ping. Humph. At least I can still frisbee. Always was the best out of everybody. She rubbed her eyes, and the frisbee thought made her think of the graveyard where her and Robbie used to frisbee. Think I'll go running today. Some exercise and sunshine will make me feel better. She smiled and swung out of bed, checked her purple highlights in the mirror forbed head, and grabbing some shiny black running shorts with hot pink trim, a black tube top and hot pink sneakers, she went to the bathroom, a little less depressed than when she woke up. 3 miles up the road, above the Gravity Falls panorama, a hard-breathing, running Tombri topped the rise of the green grassy hilltop of the cemetery. She slowed down and then with hands on her hips she casually walked around in a slow wide circle to catch her breath and rest a little, admiring the clear blue sky and sunshine. This was a great idea. She took off the small backpack with her phone, water bottles, a towel and a red frisbee inside, and dropped it to the ground and sat her curvy black shorted bottom on the green grass facing the town view below. Dipper loves mysteries. And I know the graveyard better than anyone. Well, except for maybe Robbie. But he's history. I wonder if Dipper would be interested in the Ives Mausoleum? Or the McLaughlin tomb with its stained glass window. That looks really spooky from the inside. Or maybe the Cooper crypt with the creepy statues. Robbie and I made out there once, back when we were happy together. I'm the only one who knows how to get inside any of them. And it's a great place to play frisbee. She took a few sips of water, then took out the frisbee, and flung it towards the tombstones. It banked off of the first one and then ricocheted off of a second, to land in the lap of a weeping angel crying over a tomb. Tombri smiled. Still got it. Monday and Tuesdays were always slow at the shack after the busy touristy weekends, so those were Wendy's days off. Dipper and her planned a picnic and wanted a private place with a beautiful view, and so decided on the cemetery. On the other side of the cemetery from Tombri the couple stopped in front of the Green family tombstone that was a large vertical pinnacle of solid granite 2 stories high, with 4 headstones at the base. They spread out the yellow blanket and placed the basket down in a corner, and just rested for a moment from the walk up the steep road to the top. They sat next to each other and took out some water and quenched their thirst from the hike in the warm sunshine. Then Wendy leaned against Dipper's shoulder with her arm behind him. She turned to him. Hard to believe that place down there used to be the most boring place in the world. And now. He'll look back at her. And now there is no other place I want to be. He kissed her briefly, but they kept their noses together, both smiling. She almost whispered, "I never thought a cemetery could be so romantic." It is, when you are in it. And he kissed her again, but this time a lingering, almost greedy kiss, pushing her back onto the blanket. Her arms wrapped around him in loving consent as they tried to break their record for kissing without air. But he stopped and looked at her smiling. Excuse me Wendy, but I gotta go. I'll be right back." She giggled. "Too much water, huh?" And she leaned to him and kissed him in approval as he nodded. "Sorry. Be right back." He got up and then walked past the pinnacle just past the cemetery border and into the forest right behind it. He started looking for somewhere to relieve himself. Tombri knew the cemetery well, and turned the graveyard into her own personal frisbee pinball machine, each headstone a bank shot opportunity. As she bent over and picked up the red disc from the last throw, she saw poking up just above the green hilltop about 200 feet away the tip-top of the tall concrete pinnacle, whose base was out of sight on the far side of the hill. The Green family marker. Huh? Piece of cake. Aiming carefully, her tongue curling up over her upper lip, eyes squinting as she judged the distance, she took a slow deep inhale, her breasts slightly expanding the black tube top as she compressed her arm holding the disc. She bent her knees and then flick. Her arm whipped out and across and follow through as the frisbee launched across the blue sky. Smiling, she watched it sail high in the air in a gentle curve, and passing the top curve of its flight it began diving towards the pinnacle. She knew it would hit its mark. But then, it missed the top by an inch. It continued its silent, descending parabola into the forest behind the marker. Oh crap! She started running towards the probable landing spot. Dipper had just zipped up and had turned around when whack. His forehead was sharply smacked, and falling down on his butt he could only see a blur of red. He was conscious but dazed and trying to figure out what just happened. He looked to his side and noticed the frisbee. Wah-wah. He picked it up with one hand, the other still rubbing his forehead. Then he heard a sharp inhale from the same side as the frisbee and looked up. Oh no. Oh Dipper, I'm so sorry. Oh no, oh no, oh no. She was running towards him. You the last person I wanted to hit. Tombury rushed to his side and bent down on one knee, and touched his forehead in sympathy and a pained expression of regret. She grabbed the frisbee and threw it hard and high away. Wendy was admiring the sky waiting for Dipper to come back and then saw a red frisbee come out from behind the pinnacle and land on the grass in front of her. Wah-wah. She stood up and turned around. Tombury kept repeating sorry and was rubbing her hand over his head and hair looking for any other injury, and then gently holding his head brought his face forward as he sat on the grass, and tenderly kissed his forehead. I'm so sorry Dip. Tombury. What in the hell do you think you're doing? Tombury and Dipper both looked around and saw Wendy marching over to them, clenched teeth in her angry grimace and wide-eyed anger, fists clenched. Oh, Wendy. Tombury looked back at Dipper and then back again at Wendy, and then let go of Dipper and stood up, looking at Dipper's eyes for any clues of cooperation or abandonment. I am so screwed. She turned to face the redhead. I didn't know you guys were here. I was throwing the frisbee at the pinnacle and... Wendy grabbed the shorter Tombury by the shoulders and pushed her to the ground away from Dipper. Oh. Tombury landed on her rear, the shock sending visible ripples through her tummy and top. Hey. You don't know what happened. Dipper stood up. Hey. Wendy, stop it. I know enough Tombury. Wendy turned to Dipper, angry at him too. And then noticed the red bruise on his forehead. What? What happened? Tombury got up, brushing grass from her bottom and arms. Dipper watched her as she looked down and patted her bottom and brushed off her thighs. Her bottom has a nice jiggle to it when she does that, but she is tougher than I thought. Getting thrown down by Wendy is no pillow fight. I was trying to tell you Wendy, but you lost your temper. My frisbee smacked him in the head. By accident. Dipper walked over to Tombury and lightly touched her shoulder. You okay? Tombury nodded yes, and then he turned and walked up to Wendy. It's true Wendy. I had no idea she was here. I was coming back to you and boom. I got smacked in the head. There's no reason she would hit me in the face on purpose. And he turned to Tombury with a small smile. Is there? Oh wow, he is defending me. She would have swooned right there but knew it would only further anger the redhead's temper. No. Of course not. And she folded her arms as she looked at Wendy with vindication in her face. I was practicing frisbee by myself, and didn't know you guys were on the other side of the hill, honest. What are you guys doing here anyway? I have been up all morning. When did you get here? Wendy's look softened a little. She looked at Dipper. All morning? We just got here. So you see Wendy, she couldn't have been following us. It was an unfortunate coincidence. Tombury was admiring Dipper even more as he spoke. I'm so sorry about your head Dipper. Tombury faced Wendy. I only wanted to. Tombury swallowed. To kiss his forehead where my mistake hurt him, that's all. Just platonic sympathy. He's all yours Wendy. For now, you jealous witch. Maybe I'm a little jealous. She looks pretty damn hot in those short shorts and tube top, showing off all that skin. more sexy and curvy than I ever was with my gangly arms and legs and pole figure. My pale skin and zillion freckles. Now I went and lost my temper, and of course Dipper, being the sweet innocent and honest boy he is standing on the side of right. Or did they plan this together, to meet here? But no, that makes no sense. If he was, why would he bring me? They would have arranged a private meeting with me as far away as possible. Wendy uncrossed her arms, and now looked down and to the side, and brushed back her hair, kicking the grass. Well, I guess it could have happened that way. She looked up. Sorry, Tombre. And looked down again. But then she looked back up, not with anger, but with determination. But no more kissing my man. Got it? Wendy, I was just kissing his boo-boo. No more. Okay already, sheesh. Tombre knew this was the only above-board chance she had for a hug with Wendy's full knowledge, so she went for it. She fearlessly walked up to Dipper and hugged him. Sorry, Dipper. Hope you don't get any headaches or stuff from it. Let me know how you're doing, Kay. So this is what it is like hugging her. I wondered what it would feel like. He hugged her back. Sorry about Wendy. And he looked at his girlfriend with a look that said, aren't you? But Wendy remained determined. I should have included hugs as well as kisses in the blacklist. Okay, Tombre, that's enough. And she grabbed each of them by the shoulders and pushed them apart. She turned to Dipper. Well, shall we return to our picnic? Yeah. He turned to Tombre. Bye, Tombre. Bye, Dipper. Maybe next time we'll plan the frisbee throwing so you can catch it, haha. Wendy looked at Tombre with daggers in her eyes. Tombre saw them and then looked back to Dipper and smiled. Or maybe not. Then she frowned and went back for her frisbee. But she decided to go out with a bang. Taking aim, she threw the red disc to the pinnacle, and with a bank shot it sailed ahead to another, shorter tombstone and hit it dead on, dropping in front of it, and also in front of the picnic view. She ran over to it and then, facing away from Dipper, she slowly bent over to pick it up, giving him plenty of time to see her bottom. Then she stood up and turned around to see if he was watching. He was, and Wendy just smacked him on the top of his head for staring. Bye. And she waved and then, turning around, began running with a smile and a jiggle so Dipper could keep watching her as she ran away. Shots fired, Wendy, old gal, I win the opening round.